to full power!
Gives me the creeps. I feel like something's watching us.
Savick, you go right on quoting regulations.
Hello, computer.
I knew I would.
You betrayed your uniform!
Target their cargo hold. Time to take out the garbage.
Smooth as an android's bottom, eh, Data?
I beg your pardon, sir?
Aspires to be better than I am.
Come on. It's gonna be fun.
5 years in space. God help me.
This is the best day of my life!
A phaser? You didn't use it?
Swords are fun.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Welcome back to another Retrek review, where each week we talk about Star Trek, and this week we're talking about episode 17 of the second season of Star Trek The Next Generation, and that episode is entitled Samaritan Snare. It originally aired May 15th, 1989. It was written by Robert L. McCullough, who had previously wrote The Icarus Factor with David Essel. It was directed by Les Landau, who had been first assistant director on many episodes, but only solely directed The Arsenal of Freedom and The Schizoid Man. The synopsis for Samaritan Snare is Picard must undergo a serious medical procedure while the Enterprise D deals with a Pakled ship, which lures the Enterprise away in hopes of stealing its technology. We also had additional guest stars this week. We had Christopher Collins as Grebnedlog. Christopher Collins was previously in the show as Captain Kargan from A Matter of Honor episode, so he's the Klingon captain. So the main guy, the main Pakled that talks the most, was the Klingon captain.
Cool.
Then we had Leslie Morris, who played Reginald, who was the other most chatty Pakled. He's a character actor in different TV shows and movies. And then we had Daniel Benzali as the surgeon. He's been in a handful of TV shows and movies, another character actor. Then we had Lycia Naff, the return of Ensign Sonia Gomez.
Yep.
And then we had Tai Ma as another doctor. I've seen him labeled as different things, but I'm just going to say one of the surgeon doctors during that scene. Tai Ma is in a lot of stuff. He's in RoboCop 2. He's in The Money Pit. He's in Chain Reaction. He's in Dante's Peak. He's in tons and tons of TV shows. Really famous. Oh, but maybe he might be most
famous for
Diplomat Consul Han from Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 3.
Oh, yeah. Now you're talking about some good movies that I know.
Yeah. Su Young, he's the father of Su Young. Yeah, her dad.
Nice. I didn't recognize him in that little.
I
You only see this much of his face. So.
Right. Right. He also ends up playing General Shang in the film Arrival, the one that Amy Adams has to talk to.
Yeah. That's a good movie too.
Yeah, so kind of funny that this really famous actor has like a, 3-sentence line in this episode. I don't think we gotta find a biomolecular specialist to do this.
Yeah.
So that was the introduction of the episode. But before we go on to supporters and comments of the episode, let's go over to Caleb and ask Caleb what he thought of the episode.
Yeah, what did I think? What do I think? Well, here's the thing. Nobody's really been agreeing with me lately. I've been giving stuff high ratings and everyone else says, nope, these are actual doo-doo. So here's the thing. Gonna continue that. And I'm gonna give this episode a 2 Akutas.
out,
Just to
out of
make
spite.
people mad. Yep. No, here's the thing. There's a lot of this episode I enjoyed. I don't think there's anything like really bad about like the plot or anything.
Sure.
Nothing really that like doesn't make sense and like took me out of the episode. I kind of like backstory on characters. That's always good.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care for these aliens, I'll tell you that right off the bat. I'm not a fan.
You sure, yeah.
But I enjoy like Jordy going over there and fixing their ship and it being like, hey, Deanna said they're not good. And they're like, well, we'll just see where it goes. We'll just leave Jordy over there for now. Not like they're gonna
Yeah.
raise shields and we're not gonna be able to get him back. I mean, that would be crazy. That stuff is all stupid, of course. But I really enjoyed Picard and Wesley in the shuttle more than I expected to. The surgery thing was cool. Picard's backstory is great.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, yeah, I'm sticking with a 2 Akuda.
Nice. So, really funny was I generally probably felt the same, maybe 1 or 2 Akutas for myself too. And then I
Yeah.
was going through like stuff, and then I was like, I think Robert McCullough, who wrote this episode, is the best writer of all of the episodes because the things that happened to us, you and I, is how he wrote the Packlids and how Riker sees the Packlids.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into that. But I think this might be one of the few episodes where you and I both, after watching it, enjoyed it, and then after thinking about it, are not going to enjoy it.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, that happens with every episode. When I watch it, I was like, yeah, I enjoyed watching that. And then we
Right.
talk about it, and like as we break things, I'm like, yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I don't like this episode.
Kind
I'm
of things
just
he'll get up
I'm
to.
I'm just sure everybody hates it.
I don't know. I have no idea anymore.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, no, people will like this, or people will be like, about it, and then they're like, I love this thing. I hate this thing, so never know.
Yeah. Well, I'm just basing it on the fact that they hate the best episode of Star Trek ever made, which is The Royal.
They're right. Well, that is what Caleb thought of the episode. But just before we get into comments and subscribers of the channel and supporters, we want to say thank you for 100 episodes. Yes, Samaritan Snare today
Yeah.
marks our 100th episode of the Retrek Review. And that's going all the way back to when we started with The Cage. So
Wow.
we appreciate you guys watching us, sticking with us. And as we said in our thank you video, as we said during our live stream, and make sure you watch that in case you missed it, that Caleb and I certainly wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for you guys. So
Yeah. Thank you for helping us make it go.
we hope you have enjoyed our engagement with the community. Here's to another 100 episodes.
We like to be strong. I'm just quoting. That's all I'm gonna do. The rest of the episode. That's all I'm gonna
Perfect. So before we get into comments, let's first, right off the bat, we say thank you so much to our Patreon supporters, Ed, Mark, Star, and Captain Olimar. We appreciate them helping keep this show afloat, but we specifically appreciate Ed Mark Star for always going over and lending a hand out to people who maybe don't really understand what's going on, but he's there for them. And then Captain Olimar, who always shares his Mima's sandwich recipes, but maybe he's a little nervous. He's a little nervous if somebody knows about his medical issues.
say. It's Neymar sandwich. That's good.
Yeah, so we appreciate those two guys. And because Ed and Captain Olimar are Patreon supporters of the channel, they get their comments read during the podcast. So first we have Ed's from our Pen Pals review. Yes, we know that Q2 is between this episode and Pen Pals, but as you learned in that episode, Caleb and I were filming quite in advance.
Yeah, we're way ahead.
So now Caleb and I are closer to being in the correct timeline, but we're not quite there.
We're 6 hours ahead.
Yeah. But Ed says on Pen Pals, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and Sarjanka's planet, Drema 4, suffers the same volcanic convulsions afflicting other planets in the Salkundi Drema system. Right from the top, Pen Pals is a misapplication of the Prime Directive. I give it a single Kazinti. Hannah Shearer and Melinda Snodgrass both realized this error when they tried to patch it with the Drema 4 has no warp drive technology or exposure to extraterrestrials. What kind of writer would even consider the extinction of an entire species over a misunderstanding of the Prime Directive? In my Star Trek universe, an inhabited solar system suffering a geophysical catastrophe would trigger both Federation planetary services and Starfleet support operations, SSO. In addition to independent help extended by Federation member planets because saving lives is everybody's business. I invalidate the premise of Pen Pals. Writers who want to have TNG characters face a dilemma made a bad storyline and were not being properly supervised to rework story elements into a more acceptable exploration of the Prime Directive. So it's really interesting because I told him when he commented on this that I kind of like the drama of the Prime Directive, but I don't know why I like it.
Yeah.
And like he makes a good argument that it's like, so you're not going to save people simply based off of the fact that like they don't fly in space.
Well, yeah, the Prime Directive is stupid. I mean,
Just
I'm sure it gets
right?
better later, but as of right now, for me, it's always been like dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually
You know?
know if it's going to get better. It's the
Okay, good.
that's kind of like where it lays.
Yeah, it's just the whole, that's the thing that I always appreciate about Ed is that he takes basically our feelings and what we kind of think about the episode and he like breaks it down into like, hey, so this is kind of like a full mishap of like what this even means because like
Yeah.
that's a really stupid thing that like, well, can't get involved with people who don't have spaceships. Okay.
Right.
So
So what are we doing out
you're
here?
you're not affected by the planet blowing up and all the people on the planet dying. Like, well, yeah, it's sad. Wish we could have done something. Like, well, you could have though.
Yes. Yeah. Could
Well,
you?
would they have seen us? Okay, I don't understand. It's one of those things that's funny too because like even in our society, it's like people are under the assumption that like if aliens came down, like society would just crumble.
Right.
But it's like if our planet was going to explode and aliens came down and fixed it and we're like, "Hey, didn't want to see the planet blow up and there's more out there," and they left, we'd be like, "Wow, we got to come together and get into
Right.
space." But I
Right.
feel like
Right.
any society would be like that. Even I mean, and even if they're like cave creatures,
Yes.
then they don't understand anyway. But you're still saving lives, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
I don't get the whole like, hey, they don't have spaceships, so they
It's a
are doomed. Doomed. It's like
it's a thing where they like it's a plot device to make interesting drama.
it
But
is. Oh, absolutely.
two,
Yeah.
but two, I think also like the Prime Directive in general is makes it feel like it almost you know what it really honestly feels like that like some people from the future, like the temporal mechanics like of the future are
Yeah.
like, hey, we've seen too many times that Starship X and Starship Y go and save planets, and then those aliens end up becoming like monstrous people in the galaxy. And it's like But if we hadn't gone and interfered, like the natural course of their world or their violent, lifestyle would have ended them. So it's like we really shouldn't interfere with things and let the natural like progression of their planet or their civilization just happen. And what it is
Yeah.
what it is, and not lend a hand when they're not ready for a handout. And that's what it feels like, but they don't specify that. They just say,
Yeah.
wow, they don't have warp technology, so you can't talk to them or interfere or look at them or let
Mm-hmm.
them see you. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
but
No, I
why?
know. I like that concept, but what happens is you get it. It's like how Worf said, like
Mhm.
it doesn't waver. It's absolute. It's like, well, no, it's not absolute though, because that's not how anything works.
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
Hmm.
it can't be like that.
No. But then Ed continues, by the time the Enterprise shows up at Drama 4, Data would have to elbow his way past all the other emergency teams rushing to help save the planet. My Star Trek is bustling with commercial, private space commerce, and civilian military missions to various solar systems, a universe full of activity. I understand wanting to tell a sweet story about a child, but pen pals seems clumsy to me. If the Enterprise crew won't act to save lives, then get out of the way as a fleet of aid convoys rush in to save Sarjenka's planet.
Yep.
I appreciate it. I appreciate things like this, digging into it, talking about the Prime Directive. It's a fun topic. Ed goes on to give us a popcorn award for that episode, but we'll tackle that in another video. So now we can move on to Captain Olimar's comment of Pen Pals. He says there are no options. The Prime Directive is not a matter of degrees, it is an absolute.
Yep.
What a week, guys. Good episode this time around. 3 Akudas. Lots to think about this
Wow.
week. So he loved it. Captain Olimar loved the episode.
Good, as he should.
First, I completely agree with Caleb that this is the first time Wesley feels like a real member of the crew.
Yeah.
His B plot was really fun to watch, with the dynamic between him and his team of geologists. All really good stuff. I think Caleb and
It
I,
was.
in general, feel very, very. Caleb and I agree with you, Captain Olimar, very much. Wesley was written very well in that episode.
Yeah, he actually like learned how to be Starfleet officer
Yeah. Yeah, he felt like
instead
an
of just
actual.
given like free range of the ship because he's a boy genius.
Yeah, totally. And also like his role and purpose on the Enterprise felt like it finally made sense.
Yeah, and he was flawed, you know.
Yeah, true, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there you go. That's a pretty big thing, you know.
Yep. He says now to the meat and then sends that like Flintstone meat emoji where it's like a piece of meat with a bone through it.
Nice.
Should Picard have let that whole butt planet of cavemen die? Yes. I don't know what role Starfleet plays in the galaxy, but Kirk found an alien that was godlike in Star Trek V, but it just turned out to be a jerk. Starfleet is just as much God as that alien was. Is Starfleet in charge of saving every species? The problem was
Mm,
solved basically without any cost or consequence to the Enterprise. Suppose Wesley's survey had failed and they couldn't save the planet. Is the Enterprise now obligated to ferry 10,000s, maybe millions of people to a stable planet? I'm probably wrong about this, and condemning a whole planet of people to death is so grisly. You'd have to be a callous jerk not to want to save the little girl. By some perspective, the Prime Directive is nonsense. They should, all caps, introduce themselves to Sarjenka's people. Why not fix all their health problems while we're at it? And I bet their idol worship will cause problems in the future. Better nip that in the bud. Why not mess with their
yeah.
culture and completely mold their species in the image of the Federation? It's clearly a superior way of life. That's why the episode gets a high score. It really makes you think. I'm not sure what the right answer is.
Yeah, those are good points too. And
This,
I think going back to Ed, I think that's why the Prime Directive is a fun topic because there seems like there are no right answers about it.
Yeah, and I think a perfect example is my opinion, your opinion, Ed's opinion, and the captain's opinion are all variants or different angles of it. And I think that our commentary here is very much like that scene in Picard's quarters in Pen Pals,
Yeah.
where everybody feels a certain way about it.
Yep.
Now, Ed is commenting more on like a writing process that like you are kind of
Yeah.
tying your arm behind the back and maybe lazily writing things, but at the same time, it is how he views the Prime Directive as something that
Hmm.
doesn't help the show. So
Yep.
very interesting as always.
No, I get it. And you know what I always go back to is, the episode where they're like, well, we don't police the galaxy.
Yes,
I was like, well, yeah, but you do though. It's
it's
like,
a yeah.
they make the Enterprise ship be like, well, we just go out and we look at like new stars and like supernovas and stuff. That's really all we do. It's like, but it's not. That's not all you do. You always get involved in stuff.
Always.
You're always sticking your nose in where it doesn't belong. I mean, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, so true. It's so true.
And that's fine. I mean, that makes for like a fun, show and
100%.
fun topic, but like
Absolutely.
don't
Yep.
don't pretend to be what you're not. You
Yeah,
their
I
whole
agree.
philosophy in Starfleet is to go out, seek new forms of things, and then convert other aliens into Starfleet so that a Starfleet can be stronger. That's the whole that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
So don't pretend that it's not that.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. Well, we appreciate Ed and Captain Alimar for commenting on those videos and helping us ponder more about the Prime Directive. And if you commented on one of those videos or any of our videos but aren't a Patreon supporter, that's all right. Just wait a day and we'll talk about your comment on our other video series, Hailing Frequencies Open.
Yeah.
We look forward to that. We know that there are more people out there discussing the Prime Directive. We also know some people left some comments on our live stream that we had
Nice.
a week and change ago. So we appreciate all of that. So we appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to comment and interact with us. But without any further ado, let's get straight into the review. So I thought it was really funny that we start off and like they're all talking in the bridge and they're all going like, I guess they're talking about Wesley's academy thing. Like he's retaking the test, which is kind of cool. That apparently it's been a year since that episode now.
Yep, that's
now
cool.
he's going back to take the test, which is cool. And then I forget exactly what the interchange of conversation is, but basically Riker says something to Wesley, and then Wesley's like, "Oh yeah, well, blah blah blah," and then Data responds and gives him like a similar answer, and then Riker's like, "Didn't I just say that?"
Yeah.
And then Data's like, "Yes, but not the same way." That made
Yeah, Data like expounds on it like usual. Yeah,
it
it's
was
pretty
really
funny.
funny.
I feel like sometimes they forget that like Wesley's supposed to be smart, right?
Yeah.
Because like there's this whole scene, and he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna pass it. And like, what do you mean, Wesley? It's very, very basic. And he's like, yeah, of course you'd say that, Data. You're a robot. It's like, yeah, I know, Wesley, but you're a boy genius, remember?
Well, technically, Wesley doesn't know he's a boy genius because the Traveler told Picard to keep that from him.
Right, that's true. No, he's only the youngest person who's ever been an ensign in Starfleet history. But I mean, besides that, how would you know? How many times has he fixed the ship by himself in engineering?
Sure.
No.
Yeah. This
How would you know?
this is the start. This is the start of it.
Of yeah.
The downward slide that we're going to get into.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
Specifically of Wesley.
Yeah, no, we'll just keep track of what you said that why
forget
does
about
Wesley behave
things.
behave like this if he's actually a smart person?
Well, he's not. But I feel like, that's how everybody on the Enterprise is.
Interesting.
You know, like they write them to be stupid just that and make the episode work. You know, we've talked about that before.
Well, let's table that conversation during
Yeah,
trivia. Let's do
yeah,
that.
we'll put it on the table.
I thought when they were in the medical bay and Picard walks in and the whole like, I'm not gonna have anybody. You're not gonna look at me. I hate you. And she's like, but I would love to operate on you. I felt like
Yeah.
that whole interaction was very, very similar to Bones and Spock. It was
Hmm.
very heavily written to be like that, where Kirk doesn't, he doesn't want Bones to do anything or take away his like captaincy or anything like that. It's like,
Yeah, and she was pretty forceful with like her being over the captain in that situation.
yeah, I agree.
I mean, that is how that works, and I don't have a problem with it, but it just was funny.
Oh yeah, no,
You need to get your checkup. He's like, I'm not getting a checkup.
like, well, you're having problems. I'm not having problems.
No, shut up. I drink Earl tea every day.
It's pretty funny. But then I thought it was kind of strange that Picard leaves. He goes up. He does the famous thing where he tells everybody on the bridge to do XYZ, but doesn't explain
Yeah.
himself, and then immediately goes into his ready room,
Yeah.
which is suspicious.
And then he's all like pissy at
Yeah.
everybody for being like, what's going on? Like, why are you leaving? I don't have to talk to you about it. I don't have to talk to anybody about it. Like, well, you're making it worse though,
You're making
Picard.
it so much worse.
You're making it more intriguing and more like weird. You realize that, right? Like you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah. And then I thought it was even stranger that when he goes into his ready room and he's packing up books, that Riker comes in and he's like, "So you're being weird again. So what's up?" And he's like, "I'll talk to you. Don't talk to me." And he's like, "Well, but I am the first officer, so I have high clearance." And he's like, "Has nothing to do with clearance, moron."
Yeah, idiot. It's a personal matter.
Okay.
Like, oh, is there something I can do on the starbase for you, sir? Hardly. Number one, hardly. Are they going to operate on your penis? No, they have to operate on my penis. But it's just like, yeah,
Yep.
he's so over the top sometimes about things, and it's like, okay, I get that he's trying to hold his reputation. He doesn't want people to think he's like sickly.
Right.
I get it, but like this whole like mystery in the beginning of like, oh, Picard has to do some checkup operation thing, and it's like
Yep.
it's really personal. It's really personal. It's something really embarrassing. And then it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, he just needs like a new heart valve because he was stabbed in the heart as a teenager. It's like that's pretty cool. Why wouldn't he want, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
If my captain was stabbed through the heart and is still going, I would respect the captain more.
Yes.
I wouldn't be like, what a weakling.
Yeah. Oh, he has to
Oh,
have surgery for being
gross.
attacked.
I'm not
Disgusting.
following this guy who already survived a death wound. No way. It's just weird, right? It's just weird.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See? And then the next layer of the sandwich has been built.
Here we go. Yeah. So that was the mayo
That was
on the
certainly the
sandwich.
mayo.
Because I always make it with, I take the bread, right? I take the 2 slices of bread
Yeah.
and I put a little bit of mayo on each slice.
Eat perfect. But
Yep.
you've put on
So
just a little bit too much.
too much. Yeah. So now my turkey's gonna slide all over the place.
Yeah. And then we got your new favorite character that you can't wait to see next week, Sonia Gomez.
Lover.
It was really funny when in Q Who you were like, "So is she like new?" And I was like, "Well," then you were like, I can't wait to see her next week." And then here she is.
Yeah. No, just as happy.
Immediately, I feel like her character is 100% different. Like she's nice, and like
Mhm.
obviously the actress is the same, and like conveys things, but like she's like 180 to me on from the previous episode.
Yeah.
She makes
Well,
that
she can
funny
actually talk
face.
in like full sentences and doesn't spill things on everybody. So.
Yeah, she makes a funny face when Picard walks away from her and Geordi with Wesley.
Yeah.
He's like, have a nice trip, Picard." And Picard's like, "Bleh," and then walks past him, and then she's like, "Ooh."
Yeah, no, that's a weird scene too.
It is. It's very weird.
Picard's like, all right, you guys are in charge while I'm gone. And he comes out the thing and Jordy's like, well, have a great trip. He's like, shut up, Jordy. It's none of your business, Jordy.
Yep.
And it was like Jordy was just trying to be nice, but also his delivery of that line was weird too. It was
Yes.
like, oh, have a great trip, right?
Wait,
That's not a trip.
Ah, Captain Picard. Nice day for a little trip.
You work with Wesley. You know it's not going to be a good trip. You idiot.
There's too much gossip on this ship.
Pardon me. What does he say at the end? Excuse when everybody claps.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I beg your pardon.
I think that's what he says.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't clap for me.
How dare you?
That scene. Well, we'll get to it. But
Yeah,
it was just like I was just waiting for them to be like, we're happy that Wesley did his exam.
Yes.
Picard. Like,
Yes.
what are you?
Well,
I'm sorry.
We'll get
Engage.
There.
It was like immediately they're like, yeah, you did it. Oh god.
So we get to the shuttle bay. We get to see a shot of Shuttle Einstein.
Ooh. Looks just like the other one.
Yep. Does look just like the other one because it is the other one.
Yeah, that's weird.
It legitimately is. In trivia, I read a thing where it was like whatever shuttle was the other one, Sakharov or something like that. It's like the exact same thing, but like Wesley calls it a different number, and it's like, but it isn't. So in the remastered, they like made it look like a different shuttle so that it matched up with the dialogue in the show.
Yeah, because Einstein couldn't get the number right.
That's right.
That's good.
And then what happens? Immediately, Picard and Wesley fly away. They're less than 1,000 meters away from the Enterprise. And then the flesh call, something's happening far away.
Riker, we need to get it as far away from Picard as possible. What do you recommend? And then Data's like, but that'll take us further away from the rendezvous with Picard. Yeah, I'm aware, Data.
I'm aware. Engage.
Yeah. He'll be safe on the starbase, though. So we'll just go to the starbase like we planned, right?
Yeah.
It's not like he's meeting us in the middle of space in the shuttle pod.
No. So the really weird thing is originally Wesley was supposed to take the shuttle and go. And he's supposed to travel. Yeah, I mean, nobody else goes with him, right? Yeah. There's not another pilot in the chair.
Nope.
Now maybe Picard takes over the role of that helmsman since he's now going to. I could say that that's possible. But the next layer of the sandwich is if it's going to take them like 16, 17, whatever it was, hours to get to the starbase, like why don't they just take them to the starbase?
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know why they do this.
Clearly, like, not an issue. If it's going to take a shuttle that long to get there, it would take like minutes for the Enterprise to get there, and they wouldn't even be off track. It's minutes.
I mean, the only thing is they were supposed to be going to looking at that like Nova or whatever.
Sure.
That Picard was all boned up to go look at that supernova, and he was mad that he couldn't do it. So they're like, "Bye, Wesley. See you later. We got to go look at this supernova."
Yeah, and
but you could have dropped me off in 30 seconds and then been back in 40 seconds.
Right. Yeah. It didn't make it.
Drama, Will. That's why.
Yep. Yeah. Well, they need time for Picard and Wesley to talk to each other.
For Picard to explain his story and eat sandwiches. Now, here's a funny thing. Before they got on the shuttle, this is a scene where I legitimately I was watching this last night, and I outwardly said to Wesley, like, like he could hear me. He's walking down the hall, and he says, I'm not worried about the exam. I'm worried about being with Picard for 6 hours in a shuttle pod. Like, what am I even gonna talk about with him? I literally said out loud, like, well, Wesley, if you're really as smart as you claim to be, you'll keep your mouth shut for 6 hours. Like, don't talk to him. You know?
No, gotta talk to him.
Why would you? Why have you? Like, it's like he's supposed to be so smart, but like he hasn't learned yet that like Picard doesn't really like when I ask him 8,000 questions over and over.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in a shuttle with him for 6 hours.
Yeah.
So just do what you're told and like answer his questions if he talks to you.
Totally.
Like, why are you trying to come up with material? He's like writing down questions for Picard. It's like, dude.
That sounds like another slice of turkey, my friend.
But it was just like, just shut up, Wesley.
I agree. No, I totally
What
agree.
am I gonna talk about for 6 hours? And then when Picard like comes to get on the show, he's got like 8 books in his hand, and I'm like, yeah, he doesn't want to talk to you, Wesley. He clearly just wants 6 hours to read a book on his way and
Three
not
books,
talk to
three
you.
or four books.
Yeah, so funny. And then the one question, he's like, "Hey, did you read that book I gave you?" And he's like, "Oh, nah, I'm way too busy to be reading books.
Why would I read a book?
Why would I read a book that the captain gave me? The one time he like gave me something and told me like it would help me. Nah, I can't read."
So we come back from the musical intro, and we get to meet a pack lid.
Yeah,
We find things.
yeah, to
Things
help us
that make
go.
us go, yeah.
Yeah, some sweet eyebrows too. I tell you,
Those are some real sweet act.
sweet eyebrows, bro. Deanna was busy.
Well, almost though. She was busy
She was
at first.
Well, she was busy until Jordy already had left.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did Jordy go over to the other ship? Oh man, I've been trying to get up here to tell you.
Man. Somebody's been holding up the turbo lifts.
They don't need our help. They make me feel like they doing something else. Could you be more specific? No, I can't.
Voila, make my sandwich. So then Worf makes a great point about why does the chief engineer, of all people, have to go over to the pilot ship?
Yeah, we got 6,000 engineers on board, and you're going to send over the chief. Well, Jordy likes doing it. I don't know what to tell you.
I can't do anything about it.
I can't stop him.
He loves going over there.
He loves it. What are you going to tell? You going to tell a little sport? No. No.
No.
All right, Jordy, you're clear to beam over. Is there even oxygen on board? I don't know.
I don't know what they breathe.
Just go over there with your wrench and fix their board.
We breathe.
We breathe to make us go. Oh, boy.
But then we cut back to Picard and Wesley in the shuttle, and he makes a comment about, Wesley tells him how long it's going to be, and like, this is going to be a long time, and blah, blah, blah. And then Picard says, more like a late 22nd century interplanetary journey.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm said, sorry, sir.
Good Lord, you have to read more history.
Yeah.
But the thing I was thinking was, that is, a couple decades after Star Trek Enterprise. And
which they had Warp 6.
Warp 5 was the engine that they had. Yeah. So
it wasn't 6 hours.
No. So the interesting thing is to the creators of Star Trek Enterprise, according to lore established, that shouldn't have been a thing. Naughty.
Yeah. Well, they just say things in the show sometimes,
Oh, totally. He totally won't say something again that also negates Star Trek Enterprise at all.
That's why I find it really funny when like fans of the show get like real invested in the logistics of this universe. And it's like dude, like the writers change it episode by episode.
Oh yeah.
You can't,
Mm-hmm. But we learn in this sequence that
So
Picard.
now we're putting the tomatoes on.
Oh yeah.
Nice thin tomato. Ooh, so tasty.
We learned that Picard needs a cardiac replacement. Ooh.
Yeah.
We don't learn anything else. We just learned that he
Nope.
needs a cardiac replacement.
Yep. Because they don't have perfect
No.
like hearts and stuff in this timeline.
No, that would be no.
Well, he says his is faulty, so it's like, so how long ago did they
Yeah.
install it then? Because why would it be faulty?
Yeah, did you put one tomato on that sandwich or did you put two tomatoes? Because Wesley
Well-
asks, why would they put a faulty piece of equipment in you?
And he says like, oh, that's a personal reason, Wesley. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he never explains why they put faulty equipment in him.
No,
The
not
only
at
thing
all.
I could think is like, well, that's because it was like a rushed thing that he wasn't going to survive.
Right.
So they like rushed to do it and it like saved his life. But then it's like, okay, but then it was like, well, he was a teenager.
Yeah.
So you're telling me from the time where he was like 17, 18 to now when he's like in his late 50s, they never were like, hey, we should replace that device.
Nope.
Since it was like an emergency surgery, let's like, we have like these new replicators now. We can replicate like a full heart and put in there
Yeah.
for you. Nah.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
just let that machine piece grow in your body for 80
Yeah.
years and then
I mean, Starfleet Medical wouldn't be invested in a captain of the flagship. They wouldn't make sure his medical background
They
is
wouldn't even check his medical background.
pointless.
Be a waste of time. Oh my god.
But I enjoyed the line from the pack lid. Really made me laugh a lot. When Geordie's over there and he's doing his thing and the one pack lid comes on, whatever his name is. Grunted Nod, whatever, he comes over and he's like,
Grobus, yeah.
yeah, he's like, he is smart.
He is smart.
And they all
We'll
smile
take
at each
him.
other.
You stay with us now. You fix ship for many much time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Fix ship or die.
Or we do again, or we do again.
Or we shoot again.
Stop
that again.
Yeah, and then the thing you brought up was Troy, without context, senses danger from somewhere on the ship.
Yeah.
So she doesn't come up earlier because the turbo lifts are jammed. Her comm badge doesn't work.
The bathroom over flooded too.
Yep.
That didn't help.
She comes right up after, he's been over there for quite a while. And
Is
she's like,
Geordie on a different ship? Yeah.
all-
Oh my god.
They're all thinking, eat him, eat, right? They're all like,
Yeah.
it's like the things from Galaxy Quest. What are
Rock.
Rock. Yeah, exactly. You should not let him be over there.
Well, I certainly hope it's not that ship I'm sensing murderous intent from. That would be bad.
Oh, well, let me just talk to him. We have him right here on screen. You're saying all this in front of them. Let me just talk to him. Like, hey, what's going on over there, Geordie?
Hey, Geordie, what's going on? So, are you fixing that ship where those guys want to like eat you or something? He's like, nah, we're all cool over here.
All right.
We're all friends.
All
right.
Well,
as soon as you get that done, you let me know. As soon as you restore full power to their ship,
yeah.
why don't you just head back? Just head back over here.
Just head on back.
I mean, we could beam you now, but we really, other than
Nah.
Troy's feelings, we don't have any solid proof or anything.
I mean, it doesn't really make any sense, but
I don't know why they would be like that. And then Data speaks up and he's like,
when they come back,
yeah, she's often been, very helpful before.
Yes.
It's like, don't say that, Data.
you ever seen the thing on YouTube, that YouTube channel, Cinema Sins,
Yes.
where it's like,
He goes through like the whole movie and he's like, number one, this doesn't make any sense because of this thing. Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, the lawyer is eaten by a dinosaur, and then he takes away a sin, kind of thing, like, zing,
Yeah.
takes it away.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I was thinking of the scene when Data does exactly what you're saying. And then I heard his voice, that whatever that guy's name is, like his voice comes and says, data describes Troy's position ability as well as the scope of set ability for those watching for the first time / since the last commercial break. And then that ding. Like,
yes, that's good, man. That's really good. Love it.
yeah, that's a nice crisp piece of lettuce on the sandwich.
That's
right
good.
there.
Oh man. Ooh, we're at the lettuce stage now. Ooh,
Baby.
you have to figure out some other things to put on this sandwich. Would you like another sandwich, Wesley?
Yeah, they
Eat it. Eat it in front of me, Wesley. It will amuse me. Eat this thin triangle sandwich, the worst of all sandwiches.
There's nothing on it but more bread.
Do it. Yeah, the filling is also bread.
Man.
What did you think was on it, Wesley? We don't eat meat anymore.
I did think that it was written to be kind of nicely awkward, though. I did enjoy that they wrote those.
It was. No, I liked it. In all honesty, I did. I liked their interaction on the shuttle.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
You know, the whole time Wesley's like, "Well, you know, it was nice that you came." And he's like, I don't even want to be here. I shouldn't even be here. I hate being in this shuttle pod with you." Well, I'm sorry, Wesley. It's not really you. I don't want to be going to Starbase to have surgery.
Yeah, there's just like there's nothing worse that like when you're trying to talk to somebody, like make any form of small talk or even a conversation, and they just give like one word answers or types of responses that like you can't build off of. So he's just like,
Yeah.
hey, so you're going to the Starbase? And he's like, yep. And he's like, okay. So like, is everything okay?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah.
So what does that tell you? It tells you stop asking questions.
Yeah. But
He
can't.
doesn't want to talk to you about it, Wesley.
Yeah. I agree.
So you going over there to do anything else? It
Nope.
was nice that you came with me to see me take the test. I'm not here for you. Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know what you're doing. And then they get there and he's like, yeah, so Dr. Padaski asked me to make sure that you do this over here.
Yeah.
Oh, so you knew the whole time?
That wouldn't
It's like,
that wouldn't be some onions on the sandwich at all.
no.
No. You know, also funny is Troy is very suspicious, but when Jordy says all is fine, that's it.
Yeah. Huh.
Because like,
Well, I guess my feelings were off.
because she comes up, hey, I think something bad's happening over there. Is something bad happening over there? Nope. And then she's like, then this scene comes back and she's like, something absolutely terrible is happening over there. They are not true. They are deceiving you. And then it's like, Jordy, are they deceiving you? And he's like, no, I'm fixing the ship. They're like, no, there's no reason to keep looking into this.
Nope. No, they're not even suspicious about us talking about this where they, on speakerphone. They're fine with it.
But then when we cut back to Wesley and Picard in there again, and now Picard has gotten up from the front seat and gone to the back seat to read his book, which is very painfully obvious that he's done conversating with you. He says this line to Wesley after Wesley questions him. He says, oh, did you ever wish you could have kids or something like that?
He gives him a line earlier where he's like, everybody knows, like, you hate kids.
Yes, that's what it was, yeah.
Which is a bummer because you would have been a good dad.
Yes.
I mean, look at us. I mean, we're talking here.
And he's like, hey, do you wish you could have kids? And Picard says this like heartbreaking thing. He's like, wishing for something does not make it so. And I was just like, that's so like, that's so sad. It's not even like, no, I don't wish I did, or yes, I do, but can't do it. It's literally like, my heart is broken.
It's basically saying like, if you want to be a Starfleet captain, you can't be in a relationship or have kids.
No, that's why David died.
Yep. And that's why Kirk's brother's dead also.
That's right. Can't have it.
Can't have any connection.
No connections. No family.
No, because it pulls you further to the Klingon side.
And then another absolute thrashing moment for LeVar Burton. They're like, you know what? He's like, all right, ready to beam out. And they're like, no, you're not. They take his phaser and he's like, hey guys.
Hey, what are you doing with that?
He's like, hey, you don't want to do that though. You shouldn't. Don't point that at me and shoot me.
Hey man, hey. That's my favorite thing in any media when somebody pulls a gun like, hey man, what are you gonna do with that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Probably shoot you, idiot.
Oh.
Hey man, be careful with that. Hey, don't point that at people, man. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's dangerous, man. That's dangerous.
Me gonna shoot you.
Yeah. You make us go.
And then when he gets shot, he like literally is like, oh,
throws him across the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And then again, even when he wakes up, he's like, hey man, what are you doing with that thing? I don't know. Probably what he just did again.
He wouldn't do it again.
No, that would be that'd be crazy.
And then I love it that preliminary scans of their vessel that like Data got all this information earlier in the episode and Worf and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't show that they had advanced technology at all.
No, it wouldn't show up. Now that the episode's trying to end, they're like, hey, we got that scan back, and basically they just faked all their computers to look like it was broken, but it wasn't broken. Man, if we just would have waited for the sensors and Deanna to come up here. But usually Worf is a little too much,
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning of this episode, he's like, why don't we just send them how to fix their stuff and get out of here?
Yes.
Well, no, we could go over there and do it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I would just send Geordi. I wouldn't even send like a security team with him or anything. Just send over the chief engineer by himself. It'll be fine. I mean, these people are idiots. Look at them.
Yeah.
You think somebody with eyebrows like that is going to shoot somebody? I mean, come on. Not a chance.
Do you like some jalapeno peppers on your turkey sandwich?
Well, I'll tell you what I do like is you ever had those little crushed red peppers?
Oh, yeah.
Those are good. Those are good.
There you go.
Mm-mm.
This is the halfway point. So go down to the comment section and tell us what your favorite sandwich is.
Sandwich.
We come back. Picard has feelings. He feels for Wesley. And then...
So sorry, Wesley, about your mother.
So sorry about her. We had to kill her.
She was pretty hot. But she's gone now, and she's never coming back.
But then Picard drops a name that we've maybe heard before, I think. I think we've heard it before, but we've definitely seen before. Picard mentions Nausicaans stabbed him.
Nausicaans. Yeah, I don't remember. I remember him saying that, but
So Nausicaans are from the Star Trek Enterprise. Yeah, he has like horns all over his mouth.
Oh.
And they're from the Star Trek Enterprise episode where Trip and Archer are on the prison ship. And,
yeah. I'm looking at them.
And they also board Mayweather's family like cargo ship, and they're like attacking. So we've seen Nausicaans before, which is kind of cool.
Yes, I do remember them from Enterprise.
And then while he's
so they're not in the Federation.
No, they're not in the Federation.
So what was Picard doing as a teenager in like the academy around crazy aliens that
he basically describes that like while they were waiting at the academy, they went on shore leave and they went to like basically like Mos Eisley. That's basically what he describes.
Ah.
And then it's
Never
like
find a small scum of villainy.
Right. He literally calls it galactic riffraff.
Ooh, that's good.
And so that's what he's like describing, is that he's there on the planet and blah blah blah, and he gets into some things. But the thing that I found was funny, the quote that he says was that something he goes on and then he's like, and I question,
I said a few curt things about his mother.
yeah, his questionable parentage.
His questionable parentage.
I stood toe to toe with the worst of the three. And I told him what I thought of him, his pals, his planet, and I possibly made some passing reference to his questionable parentage.
Which Wesley liked, which that made me laugh. It was a good line.
Next thing I know, there's a serrated blade through my chest.
And he was like, "Oh,
and
nice."
All I could do was laugh. Ha ha ha! Puny blades have no effect on the French.
You should have gone for the head.
You should have. Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, well, learned my lesson. Not like that young man anymore. I'm not brash and full of myself, right? And it's like,
no.
So what lesson did you learn, Picard, that you're teaching Wesley?
Why wouldn't you let Pulaski operate on you on the ship?
No, he was telling Wesley the story to teach him a lesson that he learned as a young person, which was keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Don't do the things I did, Wesley. I learned that day not to be full of myself, arrogant. Definitely don't have like a chip on my shoulder.
No.
Not to be a captain. All these important life lessons that I still abide by.
Then we come back and we're back on the Packlet ship, and the Packlets are like, hey, we like this thing that we just shot you with. Can you make more of them? Geordi's like, yeah. It's only
replicate.
There's only one of you with a phaser and me, and yeah, I have no choice. I definitely wouldn't make like defunct phasers or anything, right? Like,
nah. Well, to do that, I have to go back over to the Enterprise to replicate these for you. So I'll just go over and do that.
No, you stay here.
Replicate.
More. Then after that fun interchange, we go back to them on the shuttle. And Picard's an interesting point that he said that there's more to Starfleet service than knowledge, which I appreciated. He was like, it doesn't really matter about you reading all these books and doing all this stuff. It's like there's more to it than just that. Just because you know who invented warp drive doesn't mean you know how to like handle what's out there in space.
Yeah. Like the Borg.
Like the Borg or the Gorn.
Or the Gorn. The real bad.
Or perhaps the Gorg.
Oh, the robot lizards? Ooh, that would be bad.
Away from them. I don't remember the specifics around it. Perhaps you do. All I wrote was Troy is snarky. And I think it's because when they can't get Geordi back, she makes some sort of remark like, well, if we had gotten him back at the right time. I don't remember what she said, but I just wrote that down.
If I had gotten up here before you sent him over.
Then probably your second favorite most thing, another planet base called a Starbase.
Ooh, planet base.
Second, he was like, we've arrived at Starbase, whatever. It was just like, it was like in a forest. It was just like
landing sequence.
Yeah.
All right, we're at the Starbase. Make sure you navigate around the trees, Wesley.
And then a part I legitimately laughed at, like I outwardly laughed at. Because it made me think of you and I when we do these things. Was when Geordi's like, okay, and it's like, now I can leave, and Riker's like, you have to give him back. It's time for him to go. We request him to return. And then the Packlet's like, request denied, and it just shoots Geordi.
Lower your shields.
Request denied.
For like no reason, really. He just was like, nah. He's like, stop it. Stop what you're doing. No.
That was pretty good.
It was really funny.
Yeah, I like it.
And so then we come back from that commercial break, and they're in the conference room, and I thought to myself, wow, it'll go really good on this turkey sandwich with some cheese. And
ooh, nice Swiss.
yeah. And that comes with the line from Data where it's like, well, we could either do something or not do something, or we could do something or not do something.
It's true. Those are all options.
And I was like, man, for being an android, Data sure doesn't offer anything helpful. Like, Commander Riker, I've thought of all avenues, and we can either do something or not do something. Thank you, Data.
Isn't he like your friend?
He could be my friend, or he could not be my friend.
Yeah. Or at this
Everything
moment,
is.
he could also be not my friend.
Then you probably really love those surgical garments, right?
They're pretty great. Yeah. You mean Palpatine's Imperial Guards?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little weak, I'll say.
It's one of those things that, like, they do look futuristic. I will give them that, and they are interesting in the sense of like they're all uniform, and I appreciate that kind of stuff because it like denotes that like this is what this person is in this area. Like if they were like, well, that's what a surgeon wears, and they look like that, you would always know that that's a surgeon. I get that, and that's fine. But the thing that really makes me laugh, and I know that Pulaski made a big deal about it with Gozer, the Gozerian, there in that episode.
Gozer.
That like, well, you know, this guy has a highly infectious disease, so like kill him. And it's like, no, the ship keeps the room sterile. But to me, it's so funny that they're all like they got gloves on, they've got clothes on, they got this thing, only their faces are sticking out. And it's like, hey, do you know like the part of your body that like puts out the most like contagious things are all here on your face? Like, it's not so much everywhere else.
Yeah.
So if anything, that would probably be the place you would cover up the most.
That's true. Also, like, face shields are probably important for like your safety.
Right.
I don't, the whole, so, it's future Star Trek.
Yes.
You're like, oh, cool. But like the whole operation thing to me is so stupid because they're trying to like tell you like, well, it's the future. We don't even cut into people anymore, but we're going to fix this thing on his heart. So we put this machine over it and then we just like turn buttons on the like dinner tray above him. And it's like, I don't understand what it's doing.
They don't even. The writers didn't know what was happening.
It's pretty bad.
It's not great. And then they make this really, really great statement about Picard, and I thought, oh man, right on the nose, guys. They say, notice the patient, he is in an extraordinary physical condition. And I said, is he now? Is he?
Yeah.
A man in his like late 40s, early 50s.
Oh yeah.
This guy, this scrawny, like older middle-aged man, extraordinary physical condition. It's like,
yeah,
it's not what I would describe him as. I would say, here is an average man laying on the table.
Nope, that's perfect Captain body right there.
Oh man, made me laugh. Then we cut back to the gang on the Enterprise, and they're like, have we got the plan for Geordi? Since the Packlids are so smart, we'll talk to him in cryptic language so that even he can't understand it.
It was a little cryptic, but also I think they make Geordi stupider than he is. You know?
Oh, 100%. He has like no idea what they're talking about. Not a single idea what they're talking about. Until Worf is like 27, and he's like, ooh, whoa. Or 24 or whatever he's
Yeah, 24.
And then just for the sake of commercial break, the Packlids are like, listen, if you don't do it, we're going to kill you. And then they cut back to Picard, and it's like, how's that surgery going? It's going terrible. And they're like, fuse. And like these little phasers are shooting into his body. And it's like,
yeah,
what's happening to him?
Nothing good, I'll tell you that.
Love it. So I think it's time to take a bite of our sandwich. Let's get into trivia.
No.
I hate it. I hate it.
No, it's on Wonder Bread.
It's been on Wonder Bread this whole time.
Oh, no.
Oh, not again.
All right, Now you're overacting.
So, according to director Les Landau, he says, I dealt with a race of what appeared to be ugly and slow people. They have a need for things, which can be a reflection of our society. That's what Star Trek tries to do, take an almost unbelievable situation in an unbelievable time, and somehow make all of us realize that's what's happening today, and what we can do to make the planet and the universe a better place. I think that is the essence of Star Trek, and the tradition Roddenberry is trying to carry on. So we're a bunch of dumb idiots, according to the director,
It's true.
who have ulterior motives. Next, during the shuttle scene when Wesley and Picard are chatting, while the shuttle's autopilot is on, there is an odd exchange of conversation. As Picard begins talking about his fight with the Nausicaans, Wesley asks, was this before the Klingons joined the Federation? To which Picard answers, that's right. This overlooked yet puzzling dialogue has yet to be explained, though Wesley could have been referring to the Klingon Federation alliance. So it's like, but the Klingons aren't a part of the Federation.
Well, so here's where I stand is that anything after the last Kirk movie,
Yeah.
the Klingons are
Yeah.
indeed a part of the Federation. So
I know what you're saying. I don't agree, but I know what you're saying. Worf reports that the Packlet ship is only capable of sublight speeds. The crew of the Enterprise make no suggestion that they have encountered the Packlets before, indicating this episode is potentially a violation of the Prime Directive.
that's funny.
All right, let me read this fun thing that this person put together for the book, the Star Trek book. It's really good, and this is us eating the sandwich.
No.
Who's more stupid? The Packlids or the people who are fooled by the Packlids? So this is from like an official Paramount Pictures approved thing. This is not like a fan thing. This is Star Trek material.
Good.
Samaritan Snare is an entertaining example of an idiot plot. That is, a plot that is kept in motion solely by virtue of the fact that everybody involved is an idiot, which is the thing you've constantly said.
Yeah.
Some attribute the definition of this term to film critic Roger Ebert, others to author and editor Damon Knight, and Knight, for his part, credited author and critic James Blish. Unfortunately, although two of those three men were science fiction writers, and one of them had written a Star Trek novel and numerous episode adaptations, none of them were asked to parse the script before it went into production. Actually, there's only one idiot in Samaritan Snare, and surprisingly, it's not one of the Packlids, who proved to be
the viewer.
who proved to be rather clever at playing slightly dumber than they actually are. No, it's Commander Riker, who receives the distinction of playing the episode's idiot. Although it might look better on his record to say that his decision to send Geordi to the Packlids represents an uncustomary lapse in judgment. To their credit, the rest of the crew do what they can to balance things out. Worf, whose primary responsibility as chief of security is to voice paranoid concerns about strangers, fulfills his job function by asking, do we really need to send our chief engineer over to them? Riker shrugs off this pertinent observation, along with Worf's subsequent suggestion that they simply give the Packlets the information they need to make repairs. Not long after, Troy pops onto the bridge to warn Riker that the Packlets are not what they seem, and that Geordi is in great danger.
No.
Riker doesn't quite believe it. After all, everything looks fine over there.
Sure does.
Alas, as was often the case during the first two seasons, Troy's abilities are not well defined. As a result, her warning is too vague to be of any help. Data tries to help out, noting our Betazoid counselor is often aware of things beyond our perceptive abilities. But Riker is unable to believe that these fat potato-like individuals are capable of subterfuge, simply gives Geordi an everything okay over there, and leaves things at that, until it becomes hit you over the head obvious that Geordi is in great danger.
Mm-hmm.
The episode's salvation comes in the form of the Crimson Force Field, subterfuge that Data, Riker, and the engineering team create to confuse the Packlids. It's a worthy successor to James T. Kirk's Corbinite charade, which was an episode, Corbinite Maneuver, and it may just save Riker from an official reprimand by the captain. But considering that the captain, too, suffers from the collateral damage of an idiot plot thread in the episode, a starbase facility full of highly trained medical specialists has to send for Dr. Pulaski to deal with an unforeseen hitch in Picard's cardiac replacement surgery, he might just overlook it.
Wow.
Pretty good. Yeah, so this thing I was reading, like you, I watched the episode and I was like, yeah, it's not terrible. There's little weird parts in it here and there in my notes. Like, I notated things, but I wasn't like, well, that's really stupid. I was just like, yeah, whatever. It's an okay episode. And then I was reading all these things and I was like, oh. So that was from an official book. This is from a future writer of the show, Dennis Bailey. He goes on to say, the point at which we became serious about trying to write a script for the show was about 5 minutes after watching Samaritan Snare, which in my personal opinion was the most abysmal piece of Star Trek ever filmed.
Oh.
My objections to it were that it always resorted to idiot plotting to make the story work, and that offended me a great deal worse than some of the awful shows which were done on the original series. I thought the way in which it was plotted and the way it was dealt with was an insult to the intelligence of the people who watched the show and the actors and characters in the show. None of the plot could have happened if all of the characters hadn't suddenly become morons that week. Someone must have been aware of how hokey it was, because they wrote obvious questions into the script which they chose not to answer. For instance, Geordi beams over. Worf says explicitly to Riker, do we have to send them our chief engineer because they have a little problem? And it's never answered. If you don't want to answer it, don't bring it up. Another thing that is stupid is Deanna Troi comes onto the bridge and says to Riker, I don't sense fear or confusion. Geordi is in danger, bring him back. And no one even responds to that. They simply act as if it wasn't said. On the trip over to the starbase, where Picard and Wesley have this long heart-to-heart talk, Wesley says, why would anyone use a defective heart transplant? That's a minor point. A major piece of the stupidity is they send him to a medical facility where it turned out that no one was qualified to handle the operation if it went at all wrong.
That's true.
I can't believe they expect viewers to be so stupid as to not ask about that. The fact that the routine was repeatedly said throughout the show to be an absolutely routine procedure, and when it went wrong for no reason that was mentioned except that it had to go wrong to have the climax. Then it turns out they have to call the Enterprise to bring Pulaski over to do the operation because she's more qualified and the people weren't. Yeah, so anyways, so that was what I read. Just interesting.
That's really good. Yeah, all the other stuff that was bad, I didn't really even pick up on those things, so that's pretty funny.
Same, right. I didn't really think about like the operation, like it being kind of a joke that shouldn't have happened. I don't know.
Like he specifically went there because they're qualified, but like they're not qualified.
Right. And then the person who's the most qualified to do it is the doctor.
Yeah.
On his ship.
On his ship. Wow. I mean the Wesley thing on the shuttle I picked up on, like that was
stupid.
Why did they use a defective one? Well, doesn't matter.
It is what it is, and not gonna beat a dead horse, but it's definitely reading all of that and like really thinking about it. I think this episode suffers from the things that you've complained about for a long time, which is like you're really sick of them making everybody idiots just so that the plot can happen.
Yeah, they do it a lot.
And I think that's why I said Robert McCullough is like the greatest Star Trek writer so far, because he literally wrote an episode that was the Packlets. The episode is the Packlets. And on the surface, It seems like nothing is wrong with it. And it's so innocent and it's so like nondescript and there's nothing wrong. But really, at the heart of it, it's insidious. And it's like,
yes,
it's like, no, they actually do want badness. It's
You're
like
right.
It's full
and
of
then
badness.
all the B plot stuff is just abysmal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he tricked us just like Packlets tricked Riker.
It's true.
So we come back from trivia. We talk about it in trivia. They summon the Enterprise to the starbase because they don't know what they're doing. We get the Crimson Force Field, which was ridiculous. And then
I like how they talk to Worf, and it's like they don't even know anything of what's going on. They just think that he's going with Wesley to his exam, and then they call Enterprise and talk to Worf like, "Hey, your he's pretty close to being dead." And he tells her, we're like, "Hey, we gotta go. The captain's dying." And they're like, "All right, well, we gotta figure out this Geordi thing first."
They're like, yeah, let's start at like a high number and count down to it. Let's start at like 35, 34, 33.
But nobody's surprised that like all of a sudden Captain Picard is like dying.
No, I mean that's what happens when you're a jerk and you don't tell us what's going on. You deserve it.
That's true. Yeah. But like when the space base call Pulaski and then Pulaski would come and say like, "Hey, so
you need to take me. Like take
it's a
Riker
HIPAA
aside.
violation for me to talk about it, but we need to get to the base now."
Yeah. Like literally just come up to the bridge and take Riker aside into the ready room and be like blank, and then him be like, "Oh, well, I can't leave Geordi here." And she's like, "You have to make the decision. Whose life are you going to save?
Yeah.
Geordi or Picard's?"
Geordi's or the captain's.
But apparently the Packlids, when they see a spray of red coming from the ship and then their weapons don't work, they're like, "Well, I guess this guy isn't as smart as he seems. We'll have to let him go." It's like,
I also hate that they call it the Crimson thing. Like, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah.
I literally wrote in my notes, why did the Packlids let Geordi go? Like, wouldn't they just kill him? It would be like, oh, so you tricked us, or like what you did to the ship didn't do anything, so here we're going to shoot all of our phasers at you.
So like they shoot the Crimson thing out, and then Geordi deactivates the photon things.
Right.
But they still believe that they shot the photon things, and they're like, "Well, we don't have enough guns. Better let him go." You didn't see that you didn't actually shoot anything, or
also, like, why would that red thing like do anything to you? Like, yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just
yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh yeah, real good.
Then they get Geordi back. They cut back to the hospital thing, and then what did Pulaski do? She clearly requested that Picard awaken to see her smug face. She was like, "Oh no, you guys can leave. I'll stay here and wait for him to wake up."
Yeah, I know. It's weird, right? Wouldn't you just not be in the room?
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like, this is my issue with like this, and then to the next scene where we were laughing about where everybody claps. It's a thing where it's like, why does Pulaski want to stick it to him? Because like, aren't we as humanity like beyond this type of thinking? Like, aren't we past like pettiness?
Nope.
And then when we get back on the Enterprise and they all clap and he's like, "Enough! I hate this clapping," whatever. It's like, isn't humanity supposed to have outgrown like oversized egos and like unfair expectations of others? Like, aren't we past all of this?
You would think so. Yeah, because in a society where there's no monetary gain, or like people aren't like position minded,
no,
you wouldn't have that like egotism and striving to be better.
No. And it's not like Starfleet cares. They already know that this happened to him. It's not like they're going to take the captaincy away from him because has like a faulty thing that they put in him. It's like, okay, you're the morons here. You're the ones who did it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And then also the other thing is it's just like, I mean, your point was like perfect. It's like, so you learned that Captain Picard like was a brash young person and got into a fight and almost died, but yet he's alive and he's here, and you're like, what a weakling, idiot.
Yeah.
I would never
can't follow somebody like that.
Yeah. Like, oh, when did it happen? It's like, well, it happened like 30 years ago. You're like, oh, is he like that now? Not at all. I've never seen him like that at all. Like, oh, okay, yeah. He probably shouldn't have kept in the Enterprise at all.
He was like 18,
It's like, well, humanity hasn't advanced. We still hold people accountable for their actions like 3 or 4 decades later.
And also, like in this timeline, there must not be like HIPAA is not a thing anymore.
No.
You can request to have your medical stuff like not told about, but like doesn't really matter if they do
No.
because it's not like an actual violation.
No, you can just, that's fine.
So that
Yeah.
also means that like lawyer confidentiality doesn't exist, and
Layers
because don't forget,
exist.
Will, in this perfect society, there's still mayors, police officers.
Tons of mayors, but no lawyers.
No, there's lawyers.
Not a single one. So very interesting. Obviously, it'll be fun to see what everybody thought about the episode.
Yeah, definitely don't like it as much as I did.
Yeah. That Wonder
You always
Bread
ruin these for
dry,
me.
out-of-date Hellman mayonnaise. I bit into it. It's just not quite the same.
The only thing that tasted good was the peppers. And even they weren't enough.
But before we
man.
end the review, let's do the thing that everyone's been waiting for.
Caleb?
So, Caleb.
Stop shooting him. Stop shooting my man.
So, Caleb, who gets the Erica Ortegas Award for being the most unlikable?
Let's just make this a fun one today. Let's do Pulaski is the most unlikable.
Nice. I like it.
She couldn't just help the captain and then have that be the end of it. She had to make sure he knew that she did it.
I did it. Yeah.
I
so she
told
could-
you not to be here. You're welcome. That was the other conversation with Wesley on the ship too, where Wesley's like, I'm not even gonna be around icky girls.
Oh, yeah.
I've resolved to not be with weird bear monster alien ladies.
And
And Picard's like,
oh.
well, good for you. I love ladies. I've never figured out how to stop being around ladies.
Next is the Elizabeth Cutler Award for being the most forgettable character.
The Doctor, Starbase 12.
The guy who couldn't do it and requests.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't do this. Don't worry, everybody. We'll be done by dinner time. All right.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Very good.
Oh God.
Great choice. Excellent choice.
Thank you.
But it won't be as best as the Mugatu Award for the best alien of the episode.
That's Worf.
I knew it wasn't gonna.
God, no.
Even when there's a new alien species on the screen, can't do it.
No, thank you.
Excellent choice. Worf is great. But next is the Trip Tucker Award for the MVP of the episode.
It's gonna be Wesley.
Wesley, wow.
He's the only one that did his job. His job was to go and take his test, and he did it.
And he passed.
And he passed. He didn't put anybody's life in danger.
Nope.
Yep.
He did make sure that Picard went to the surgery thing.
He made sure Picard went to the surgery room, and then he went and took his test like a responsible Starfleet person.
I like it.
Meanwhile, you got Deanna, too late, as usual.
Yeah.
Riker, he's making bad decisions. Geordi did great, but he ended up like giving technology to villains.
Yeah. He doesn't reclaim any of those phasers.
No.
And Data doesn't offer anything helpful. He just
Data
repeats the obvious.
Nothing. Yeah, Data takes up Deanna's role this week.
Yes, he does.
And that's it. Worf says, hey, we should blow him up, and they don't. And that's, he's right as per usual. So
next is the Spock Award for the best line of the episode.
That's when Picard wakes up and he says, what the hell are you doing here? I think people have come to know that I really enjoy when Picard gives lines like that,
Yes.
Those are my favorite. Love it.
I love it too. Well, next is the Shran Award for the best action sequence.
Is when they shoot Picard's heart with lasers.
Fused!
Fuse it.
They're like, okay,
Oh
we're going
my
to take
God.
out this giant machine and put in another giant machine, but we're not going to show it.
I can't even see his heart with this table in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody told me that his pacemaker was a machine. What the?
Well, next is the NX award for some sweet ship stuff.
I like their ship, the bad guy ship. I thought it was cool how they had like all this mishmash like technology in it.
No,
I mean, I like how they like stole like the concept of them stealing technology from like Romulans and Klingons and
yeah, I did think about when they were like, they're very similar to Romulan shields. I was thinking, did they con some Romulan to come on the ship? They're like, listen, we just want
yeah.
to go fast. And he's like, all right, come over onto the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, the Romulans definitely went on board and helped them. I mean, that doesn't make, no sense whatsoever, so that's good.
Was similar, so it wasn't exactly the Romulans. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I agree. That's funny. Well, next is the Porthos Award for the cheesiest thing of the episode.
It's definitely Picard going to get surgery on this base that is not qualified to give him surgery. So why would it be inappropriate for Pulaski to operate on him?
It isn't.
Why is it this big thing that he made it this big thing like they like were romantically involved and it's a
Right.
conflict of interest? Like why is it? Why is this like a personal thing that's weird now?
So what they're indicating is what you said earlier is that Picard, like, he's all about his image, how he is perceived on the Enterprise, and that he cannot be viewed as weak or like coming up short. So
Okay.
to have himself be vulnerable and be, put unconscious and be cut open and his life is put into another, subordinate's hands, a person who is under him, that would
Yeah,
be
but the
so
doctor's
inappropriate.
not. The doctor's really not under him though on the ship.
Right. It's like yes and no, right? So
And he spills his guts to Wesley on the way there, the biggest mouth of the ship. So it's like,
right. The reality is that when they wrote the episode, they all of a sudden realized, oh man, interesting idea, but the episode will be over within 4 minutes if we don't make them all morons. Because literally
yeah,
what would happen is Picard would come in, she would have scanned and said, hey, this thing is really a problem now. You should have gotten this fixed a long time ago. It needs to happen. And he'd be like, you know what, doctor, you're right. He has the surgery. Everything's fine. That plot is gone. Okay,
yeah,
Wesley, you need to go to Starbase, whatever, to take your tests. Okay, we got him there in 45 seconds. He passes his test. He's back up on the Enterprise. Okay, this emergency distress signal comes out. They go over to check it out. Oh, it's the Packlids. Okay, Deanna comes up to this bridge. Hey, they're going to deceive you. Don't send Geordi over. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, hey, we'll just send you the information to fix it. We'll see you later. And they go back up and pick Wesley up, and then the episode's over with.
yeah.
And that's it.
Boring.
Right.
So here's a better workaround then.
Okay.
Picard is a responsible adult and does the surgery by the qualified person on his ship.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Wesley takes the shuttle pod for some reason because
Yeah.
he wants to study extra on the way there. So he
Yep.
has 6 hours to study before his test, right?
Yep. Yep.
While Picard is in surgery, Riker's in command. They run across the aliens, and
Yep.
it's the same thing
Yep. But
they have to deal with while Picard's in surgery.
I agree. But the Packlids, she's not able to read their minds. They have some
No.
they're like the Ferengi, right? Like they can't.
She went with Wesley.
No, just she simply can't read their minds. They have some sort of their
Mhm.
minds are too simple or too
Oh, they're too
something.
stupid. Yeah, I don't understand.
Like they don't really give me anything. So they send over Gomez
Yeah,
and she's over there. And then now they're terrible to her and Geordi's trying to get her back with the rest of the crew.
yeah.
And it's
And they
awesome.
actually end up shooting the Enterprise.
Right.
And that's what causes Pulaski to have to do like fast emergency surgery on the captain.
Yep.
Great.
Perfect.
We fixed it.
hot chocolate force field. That's what they have.
40,
Okay.
40 years later, we fixed it.
That's right. And lastly is the Enterprise Award for the best scene of the episode.
It's definitely when Picard is explaining his backstory to Wesley.
Yeah, the Nausicaan bit and all that. Yeah, I agree.
Eat a sandwich, Wesley, as I regale you in tale of times of old.
Yes.
Like, nah, I don't really want a sandwich, sir. Like, no, eat it. Oh, thank you, sir.
There are several funny moments where Patrick Stewart is clearly eating and he has to, it's very casual. He's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm pretty interested now. Just like, what an interesting decision. And it's fine. It's fine. Like, I don't hate it, but it's interesting.
Well, wonderful triangles.
That is the review of the episode from us. We hope you enjoyed us talking about it. But now it's your turn to let us know what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you want more of it? Or was this snare a little too un-Samaritan for your liking? Let us know down below.
Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Next week's episode will be episode 18 of season 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and that episode is entitled Up the Long Ladder. It's going to be your new favorite episode.
Oh, good. I can't wait. I know we're on the downswing now, so I know it's down until the finale. I hear the finale really picks
once you saw the Gorg, you knew it was all downhill from here.
Well, what makes me worried is that the Q episode was good. So there's only down from here.
It's like when the ship's coming into the Earth's atmosphere and it's just like it's a steep decline.
Yeah.
So we have that to look forward to. Can't wait to watch that. But now we'll roll back time a little bit. And while you're down there writing and letting us know what you thought of the episode, take an extra moment and tell us who wins the Popcorn Award so that you get your own award ceremony for who was the best actor of the episode Samaritan Snare.
Nobody.
Let us know down there and tell us what you thought of the episode. We appreciate it. But as always, if you liked our review of the episode, like the video. If you disliked our review of the episode, dislike the video.
Like the video.
Share this review with all your friends and family and Trek enthusiasts. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a review. And ring that bell so you can watch our review as soon as it comes out on YouTube. And then, when you're done watching this review and you don't want to talk about Star Trek anymore, you can always head on over to Caleb's channel. Caleb has a fun prop channel where he makes things from pop culture. Things like Jurassic Park and Mission Impossible and Superman. Things that are topical.
Yes, I make all those things.
You do. As he always says, if you haven't seen it, it's new to you.
It's new to you.
Very good. Well, when you're over there watching a video, checking out his channel, make sure you find a video that you enjoy and like it. Comment. Leave a suggestion of something him to make or watch or something of that nature. But always make sure that you subscribe. But ultimately, you decide.
You decide.
We appreciate everybody taking their time and doing the fun, excellent things down below and making our channel and videos, making our video look so nice and being sent out to the algorithm so that other YouTube people can watch it and join our community that we're making here. We always appreciate Ed, Mark Starr, and Captain Alimar for their Patreon support. Couldn't do it without these guys. They certainly help us stay sane and keep trekking along.
Yeah, it's true.
So we appreciate everybody watching the review. And so, computer, distract everybody with the Crimson Force Field. See you guys!